legendary, boy, I'm legendary. You unnecessary, said you feeling froggy, but you leaping kinda like you February, only sometimes. Boy, I've been jumping up out of the gym like I'm Carter. I'm convinced I'm a baller.
Hey guys, probably like, V, why are you posting this on this channel on like March the 20th? Like, shouldn't you be doing like something like, whoa, like to explain all this shit? But honestly, guys, I couldn't find a better motivation to do this on the main channel, because I want to make that the more focus for like the fun, the more really grounded material sort of stuff of me just doing stuff for the funds, the stuff for my own built up studio stuff, as my cat is literally right next to me, right by the chair. Like, there was just so much I wanted to condense into all this. Like, I was gonna do some fancy edits, and then when I thought about it, and then talked to Nick and Sven, although I regret talking to Sven about it, so I just mostly talked to Nick, and then Nick was like, I can mostly edit everything, it'll just be very magical, we'll do all this, that, and the third thing. But at the end of the day, I just decided to do this whole thing on like my vlog channel, where it's more or less my vlog slash behind the scenes channel for like all this stuff of behind the scenes dramas and whatnot. So I'm sorry about all this being like unedited and unmagical like everything else that I've been cooking up. I apologize for all that. Firstly, as I'm also trying to get some stuff, because I recently got into a digital comic that I'm supposed to be recording some lines for. I just finished up recently, so that's fun. A lot of people that don't know, they're kind of just like want to know the full story behind the whole why am I still here, basically. Like, why am I in this location? Why am I literally just still here instead of with Amethyst? Like, what's the big story there, as I'm also reading some very personal stuff right there. So, a few people know about this already, but Amethyst and I are no longer together, but it's not really for like any amicable reasons. Like, nobody in the whole relationship wanted this to end, because a lot of the stuff that did happen was just, oh boy. Like, to start off, people would try to say, were there like major issues? And for the most part, we didn't really have a lot of issues aside from, of course, the distance, because I'm a very emotional, physical person with affection, as is she. We both wanted to be together, but I wanted to do stuff on a much more adult thing, because last time I did stuff when I was engaged to Jade, when I was with Felicity, and when I was actually married to Tank, but that was an accidental marriage that I recently found out wasn't even anything towards what I thought was the marriage, but that's a whole nother story. I wanted to do things right this time, because I didn't want to just rush in like I was in my teens again, or just starting my 20s, just like we can just do this, that, and the third thing while I just stay on the streets and provide nothing for you, because I can't really do anything else. I wanted to do things right. She wanted me to just be there, and it was just that whole thing, because Amethyst has gone on record to say to me, like, this is just a first for her for that kind of relationship. And for a lot of the whole stuff, it was just a huge thing of that just being our issue. But I thought that we could actually be able to solidify it on a better term than this, as my cat is just being surprisingly chill right now. But the thing of it is, the major issues started to have cracks in the foundation over time because of certain outside forces, like not fully in the whole picture, because there were certain things that went wrong, but that's a whole nother thing entirely of where the meat of the problems went. It's just certain cracks kind of came about when, if you guys remember, I did a video about this person where I drew them in the appearance of Mei from Overwatch. That streamer decided to twist and turn some stuff, like even trying to do some so-called snapshots of things, of me saying all these things in the connotation of I'm trying to cheat on Amethyst with her. This whole person literally turned everything on its head when I decided to tell her 3 months after being with Amethyst, when I literally went to her and said, I am sorry for ever considering going out, not really going out, for asking you out. I said that because a lot of the people I have approached about certain stuff, it's like I feel bad about trying to have these things because I respect you and your boundaries. Da 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 da. I've talked to many different people about many different things where we've been adults, we've talked shit out. I've talked to my friend Sacred. She was just like, I appreciate that you open and honest with me about how you feel and how you respect my marriage, and we can keep things copacetic and keep it fun and blah 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 blah. We've been on that tip for many years now where we're still good today, even if I am very terrible about communications and whatnot. And other sort of friends that I've made where they're just like, we understand that you felt this way in the third way. We just feel grateful that you don't want to ruin the friendship. This lady, on the other hand, was just trying to twist and turn everything because I stated that 3 months into the relationship, and then just automatically, because I want to still do the same thing I do with all my other female friends, of I say like they're hot, they're gorgeous, they're sexy, and if they have a problem with it, they can literally just tell me, like, if it makes me feel uncomfortable, I don't want to go through this because of A, B, or C. Like, I've had this conversation with one person, like, I appreciate it, I feel flattered, but I'm at the moment married and I don't want to make it seem uncomfortable. Could we not do this? We stopped it. It was fine. Then when she was single again, she was like, could you go back to the whole dynamic? We were fine. We were copacetic. It was all good. That's because as adults, we can talk shit out. This bitch did not want to talk about all that stuff. And I doubt you'll ever watch this, Marissa, but yes, you are that bitch. I don't like you, and that was fucking ridiculous. To then also drag Amethyst into that, saying that I was trying to cheat on her with Marissa, which, if you guys would ever know me and my taste, if I was going to slip up with someone, it wouldn't be with Marissa, okay? It would not be with Marissa. I have standards. I literally have standards. But that kind of cracked the foundation for everything because Amethyst did have a lot of stuff where she was paranoid I would never move up, things would never work out, blase blase woo. Everything was a huge problem in that regard, and hearing that did not help things to where when the big news hit in October of last year, things just kind of broke ground fast. Because the main plan, we were going to have the house, I was going to move out in October, we're going to be there, going to set up stuff, I would then start working some local jobs, maybe even try and commute several hours into the city, maybe stay at like some relative's house overnight, to then work there several days a week, to then go home for like 2-3 days a week, work out all that stuff, and then be able to afford all this sort of stuff where I wouldn't have to be working that fully, because during the wintertime until at least mid of March, I have a reprieve from certain things, except New York weather's a lot different. I would still probably have a busy enough schedule even during the wintertime, because New York, baby! But, you know, that sort of shit happened. But she wasn't happy with things when we found out that we weren't going to get the house we were going to move into because of some stuff with the landlord, and I was just panicking because we didn't have any backup plans, because I was just trying to stockpile money so we could have rent paid off for several months. We could just focus on getting furniture, getting groceries, doing all this sort of stuff, me looking for a car, everything. I was literally just trying to get all of the basic financial stuff so we can just be squared off with all that sort of things without any sort of worry, because I was just listening to what Amethyst was saying was the major plan, was the full-blown plan, was how we were going to go about things. That was what I was just kind of just mostly focusing on, since that was what I wanted to do as the man in the relationship, because I've had father figures that just completely abandoned or just fell flat on the whole surface, and having that just broken off with everything just made it have me with problems inside, like I'm gonna probably fail, I'm fucking up, I don't know what to do, because we didn't set up any backup plans, and I'm getting used to the fact of having backup plans from B to Z, and maybe the Greek alphabet to Omega at any regard. So we're talking about it for like maybe 2 days. I'm trying to just stress to her about we need actual plans. Instead, it was just an ultimatum of either homelessness or staying at the family house, where everyone kind of knows my history about being homeless. It's never a fun idea to me. To say that as an ultimatum is like spitting in my face. I was not happy. I was miserable. That was awful. I literally was close to probably doing self-harm at the very thought of being homeless again. I can't do that shit 4 times in a row. I will probably just drop like actual sulfuric acid down my throat and die before I go homeless again. I swear to God, that's the worst thing that you can say to me. And the second thing of just like the family home was just some... I'm not going to go into full-blown detail about my own story about this, but I'm just going to say something that's very similar, which is when one of my friends was just being approached by their now spouse. They are fully married now, but they had a situation where he was asked by one of his friends to move into this one apartment complex because he needed the money. He just recently moved into this town. The problem was he heard for months on end about how the town didn't like any person that was of Indian descent. How the neighbors were just like, if they have any person that sells that insert racial slur about Indian people here, that they would just honestly have them either deported or beaten in the square. That they've heard nothing nice about anything, but only during the 2 times where they were able to scope out the place, look into the rooms, or just trying to find other apartment stuff, everything just seemed all nice. And then the roommate was like, that's very surprising because this is a non-supportive Indian American supported neighborhood. This guy was literally on the whole mental verge of saying, like, if I were to move into this place, I'd probably be scared shitless because they don't like me for being the other. And a lot of people in the neighborhood, according to this friend of mine, was saying that they viewed him as someone of a terrorist, since a lot of the people still have that mentality. And painting that kind of thing for a person of color that has that whole stigma around themselves, as I can tell you, at face value, when you hear a lot of shit that just seems like super, super fucked up on a huge grand scale to be a prologue for what's to come, it doesn't matter how you want to paint the picture in the current market. That fucks you up to where you can't really tell if it's sincere or if it's a trap because you've been betrayed before. It's not an excuse. It's not something to just be like, oh, well, you're just doing this to be PC. No, this is real fucking life. You can't always just look at the same thing with the same exact vision as other people do when they don't understand the same struggle, because they don't live that same fucking struggle. Anyone that has lived in those shoes knows this. I'm saying this story because it follows the exact same beats when I'm trying to talk to Amethyst about this. She doesn't understand why I'm this terrified, this scared, this overly emotional about all of this in a way that not a lot of people have seen. Only my kids and my siblings have seen me this broken. when I was talking about all of this stuff. To when all that stuff was said and done, I tried to at least talk to Ash, because my job was trying to give me a alternative to everything because of us losing the house, where I could stay there. They could help me find an apartment. We could have her move all the stuff down there little by little, or we could buy new stuff. We'll still be able to see her family, and it would just be us. We wouldn't have to worry about any of the big problems that happen in the city, because we'd be far enough away from it. And we'd be able to just be together, because that's all I wanted. That's all I ever fucking wanted from that whole relationship. But when I'm trying to then sit down and finally talk to Amethyst about everything, she just decides to cut me off, because she feels like I don't want to talk about any of it, because she feels like I'm trying to give up on us, since I couldn't move automatically when a lot of other shit went down, and she couldn't trust me because I wanted to do things in my own mental zone of everything. I figured that it was the smart play, because if I rushed into all of this sort of stuff without any real backup plan, and I couldn't provide properly, I would be letting her down. That's where my mindset was. That's where my mental field was. Was I right in all this? Was I wrong? I don't know. I will never know, because Amethyst and I still to this day aren't talking, when all I ever wanted to fucking do for months was talk to her to fix things, to make sure that we were okay. And all in all, though, I wish I could turn back the clock to the summer of last year to then just be like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm moving, I don't care if I'm going to be in debt to this god-awful family that I'm stuck with, because fuck my life. Everything about that shit is just, maybe if I did that in the third thing, we probably would have gotten the house, would have still been happy, would have found a new job. Who cares? That's where my mindset was for a long time, to where even to this day, I'm still kind of like, if I moved when I said I was going to move, maybe things would have been different. But talking to a lot of different people now, it's kind of painfully obvious that at this moment in time, we will probably not be back together for a long stretch of time. We may get back together in the future, we may not. I don't know, because the wounds are very fresh. I will forever love Amethyst. Amethyst has been my whole world for a long time now. I miss her every day, but I can't be sad and depressed all day. I gotta move forward with what I gotta do. So, yeah, that's just this whole thing about why the whole thing behind me is the same way that it is, why a lot of the content's going to be a lot different than it's going to be for a while, why my stream content's going to be a little bit more tweaked out to where it's just going to be, try to be tailor-made towards a new, well, basically divorcee thing, because of a lot of stuff behind the scenes that my friends set up that's basically more divorce than breakup. Why it's too complicated to go into, because my friends are very fucking complicated. They've been that way since I've known them as a child. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of March. This has been an experience, but I'm letting you guys know I'm getting better. Just, not automatically. It's still a long road. It's still gonna be a bitch of a climb, but I'm getting there, little by little. See y'all on my main content on the main channel if you guys are there. If not, then yeah, I hope you guys just enjoyed this video.
Yeah, it's like my 1, 3, 2 quick, mic check, 2 sick, the slick lunatic, running a badge and a nightstick, got us a sidekick, universal like a cockback click, kid better open up your eyelid, on stage throw your hands down beside